Alright, so this is a video tutorial. I like to talk a little bit about the conceptual road and component road in InfraWorks, as well as how you can actually create intersections and how you can customize the road with the decorations like this one, and how to change the lane from 2 lane to 3 lane to add more customizable details along the intersection. I have to actually increase the resolution of the screen, so I apologize for these tiny buttons on the window panel, because later I have to click OK. Some of the window panel is pretty large, so I have to bouncing up the resolution. As a result, I got really small menus and buttons, but hopefully you can zoom in and see them easily. Alright, this first thing I want to do, as you can see, this one is already have a lot of details like utility pool, trees, traffic signs, guardrails. So I want to show you what is the typical procedure you can create a customizable road. I would recommend you watch some old tutorials posted online in my library about the component road, about the conceptual road. So this one is more like additional tricks and details for the roads. So first thing I want to talk quickly about the road. Actually, we go to the data source first. By default, when you download Autodesk cloud-based site, it's automatically populated with a road, with a terrain. And this road is actually come from this vector-based GIS data, which you can see here, the shape file. So this basically indicate the center line of the road. Also sometimes carry other data like name of the road, the type of the road. Then InfraWorks is able to read this data and then construct this road procedurally. So that is kind of from the GIS vector-based pipeline. So by default in InfraWorks, if you want to start modeling roads, by default is this kind of center line or this GIS type of simple style you can apply. So here, if I create a road, I can use whatever road available in this list. It's pretty long. If you know the name, you can also search directly here. So for me, I will just start with something really simple, really random. Maybe start with the green space and sidewalk first. So it's a conceptual road. So here, if I draw, I'm able to, just create a simple concept and then double click to close this action. So now you can see this conceptual road is being added. It creates intersection automatically. And if I escape, you can see this road can be selected in the property. Let me just turn on this. So in the property menu, you can actually see this is the current road, which you can swap to a different road later if you need. But I do want to talk more about how you can actually customize the road to make more control on the width, on the details. So the first thing you have to do is open the style palette. This is the palette. You can see a lot of external data can be loaded into InfraWorks. For example, here the 3D data. For road, you have to drag all the way down. It's sorted by alpha beta, so R is a road. You can see that is existing style or type, we call style. You can apply it to the road. And you can also switch to interstate. You can have more options here. For me, I can apply other roads, or I can customize, create my own version. So here I will select one road, existing one, and then click duplicate. You do not want to edit this directly because sometimes you will mess up the settings. I would prefer you just duplicate the road by yourself. You can give a name TM2, whatever name makes sense to you. Then you double click. You can see the road can be added like this way. You can also click the pencil. It's the same thing. It's open up. And here are all the parameters related to this road. Again, sorry for these tiny buttons, so you have to zoom in to see it. The first thing I do want to talk quickly is about the width of the road. So as you can see, this road has 9.8 feet as a roadway. It has a curb. If I zoom in, you can actually see the curb. That is this guy. Then I have a green space, which is outside the curb, and you have the sidewalk, right? So this is actually all the parameters you have. So for instance, if I want to control the size of the feet from 3.28 to I don't know, maybe 5 feet, if you click enter, you can see the sidewalk will be increased. Same thing, for anything in this road, if you want to customize the dimension, I can change the road from 9 to 11, so that will be a little bit wider. And if you want to have, really depends on the reality of this road. If you want to add actual patch of the road, you could actually have, I don't know, actually I want to move this one down because it should okay, let's move this up. So I move it down. I gave this guy, I don't know, maybe 3 feet. Right, so there's something new showed up. So you can define, well, maybe this is the shoulder, or maybe this is the, this asphalt gonna extend a little bit. So here I have gutters, whatever. So here I will give some name. I will apply this as a part of the, it could be the bikeway. That's nice. You can make this as a part of the roadway. Usually they're just a definition. I can give this name, I don't know, maybe shoulder. You can also set this category, right? So it's actually apply the texture automatically to here, to the shoulder. If you don't want this to be exactly the same, you could do, let's see, I want this texture be bikeways, so that will show up as a bikeway. Okay, so that is how you can easily customize the width. You can also add actual road if you think, well, I want forward, backward be 2 and 2. I can just increase. So it's automatically add this dash line. So it's pretty smart. I will actually reduce this. I did 3 of this. So I will do 1 1. Maybe do 2 1. Well, let's do 1 1. Don't want to deviate too much. So that is the how you customize the values here. Then I will go ahead to create some decorations. For the profile, you probably don't want to dig into this. This will actually change a lot. I think it's easier to actually do this in Civils 3D file instead of using the InfraWorks. But here I can add some decorations. So first decoration I want to do probably is some of the let's do some trees. So here in the vegetation, I will find some tree. I think I don't have the billboard tree, the low polygon one, but if you have low poly, this is a good place to use it. So for me, I will just using some of the default 3D tree. They are pretty high polygon, so as you can see, probably it's gonna be a little bit too heavy. Wow, this one has a lot of details. Let's get rid of it. I will find some low poly tree, or relatively low polygon tree. So I don't know, let's just using this. Okay, that's a lot better. As you can see, later we can switch to the wireframe. You can see this tree has less details. It's basically using the alpha channel or the mask to generate these leaves. So it's pretty cheap. And I will click close. Oh, before I click close, I should add in a little bit of spacing. So every 32 feet, you have a tree. You can also do the track offset. So let's do 11 feet. Right. So basically, you pushed the tree on the sidewalk 11 feet. I think I should do probably 14 because I have the bikeway even more. I think I should do maybe 16. So the bikeway will just need some extra feet. So have the tree right here. That looks pretty good. So every 32 feet, just type this integer. You have this tree showed up. And I will do the very similar thing for other decorations. So this time I want to use, let's see, maybe some utilities. So here in the energy, let's see here, I will add some utility pool here. And kind of same track I will do, let's do 15 feet. Okay. And they do overlap with the tree too much, so I will give the space offside maybe to 3 feet. Right, so they're not exactly overlap with the tree, and I want to make the spacing. Usually, the spacing is not that dense. I will give like 45. Okay, so I will have some utility pool, showed up every 45 feet. That looks good. I could keep adding the details, so it's really up to you to decide what thing you want to add in. So maybe I want to do zone 30. I don't know what it is. Probably it's just a traffic sign, and I will use let's do the 16. No, let's do the 15 feet. Okay, so let's do 15. So the same settings, but I don't want this to be too much. So maybe every 70 feet there will be a sun or something, right? So you have this. You can see it's automatically facing the traffic, so it's pretty nice. You could rotate this if it's needed, if you need to flip it. Or if you need to mirror, you can do the two of the rotation. Anyhow, I think I'm pretty happy with this. I will click OK. I will click OK. So basically, I create a new style. Name is a TM2, and this style I could apply to my road. So the quick way to do that is you select our road, and then you're gonna swap more material, more style. So here you can see the TM2 show up. I will click. It is automatically generate this really nice details I can add in. All right. So this is how you create a conceptual road with a simple style decoration. So here, let me do a little bit more. So here I will add roads, and I want to use the TM2 actually as my default. This, and then I will add in another road, maybe here. Right, so here I can add that, maybe linked to this. Double click. Right, so you see it's readapt the terrain to the road automatically. You can see if you have like up and downs, it's always follow the terrain very nicely. So this is going down. Right, so this is a nice conceptual road. I probably want to do a little bit more intersection. Let's just do a cross intersection here for the sake of demonstration. Okay, so I have this intersection right here. Right, so everything looks good, except I think the radius of this road, you don't have much control because this is just a conceptual road. And also, if you do want to control the individual decorations, is a little bit hard to customize here. So here I want to show you the benefit when you convert a conceptual road to the component road. That will be more control for you about the radius. But one thing I want to show you quickly about the wireframe, just want to let you know, see the tree here doesn't really carry too much polygons. So this is a cheaper version, but it's not as cheap as a billboard tree. Just to let you know, the wireframe, you can actually see this tree. It's not that super detailed. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with it, and I see the I think the traffic signs for some reason is flipped. If we draw, if we drive along the right side, this stop sign or this traffic sign should flip. So let's go back to TM2. This is the decoration, right? I think what we need is rotate this 180 degree. So you have to understand what is X, Y, Z. In this case, I think it's 180 along the Z axis. So you can see the sign will be flipped. So click OK, click OK. Let's see if this one update. It should, and then you should have this, yeah, all the sign flipped. Okay, that's nice. Otherwise, we are driving in UK. It's a British system, but we are good. So next thing I want to do is to actually convert this road from conceptual to component. But before I do it, I want to show you one more thing is, when you click a conceptual road, this called snapping point allow you to drag the road up and down. So if you do need the road to be pushed up above the terrain, you can do that. Or you can do this is by pushing down this, so it will be underneath the terrain. So it really depends on how you want to create the transition. Here you can see the terrain is being pushed down as well. You have these options. You can also just have the Z value if you know the C level of this road. Just let you know it's automatically adapt to the terrain. Alright, so then I'm going to go ahead to convert this into a component road. Okay. So here you go. You have this road, looks like the same, right? Still the utility pools, the trees. The intersection looks a little bit funny because you have this component road intersect with a conceptual road. So I will actually do both, convert into the component road. Okay, so once they both are component road, now the intersection looks much better. It also is smart enough to actually remove the utility pool close to the intersection. So if you click intersection, this is a separate object which you can tell from the property panel. So here's intersection. You can switch the type of intersection to roundabout. You can control the speed of the car, which will impact the radius of intersection. So if you switch to the sedan to a truck, you can definitely see because this trailer, this big truck need more radius. You see the intersection will automatically adapt to it. So it's a pretty smart program to allow you customize. I will go back to sedan. This is not really a highway, so let's change it back. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk quickly how you can customize this intersection. So first, if I switch to conceptual, to the wireframe, you could see the density of the points has been increased along the intersection. So that is one pretty unique thing you can tell immediately from the component road. There's more details here available. So the first thing I want to do is probably figure out in the most of the intersection, the road will have like a right turn or left turn only. That is very typical in most of the Ohio road. So here, if I want to have this 2-lane to 3-lane kind of transition, I could click the intersection first. Let me see. Okay, then you can click the this part of the zone. If you actually click it, okay, you should see this name. This is called turning zone. Okay, turning zone. It has its own parameters you can control. For example, the radius. The radius is actually displayed as this kind of arrowhead. If I drag it and change the radius, you should see this value will update. So that's the kind of controller for the radius. You can also see there's a purple color bar here, right here. If I drag it, you basically are generating actual length or actual space for the transition. So if I drag it here, push forward to the road, you basically create this kind of widening area. So if I click, you can see this called widening zone. Right. So this could be this right only turn, and here you could, change this this arrow to right only, so it have this actual space for you. So that is pretty typical in most of the Ohio road, okay, at least. And you could also, after you create this widening zone, if you click this transition zone again, turn zone again, you see this purple bar disappeared. The reason is this bar now is somehow translated or transformed into this actual 3 bars. So that's the kind of logic of infra work. It understands you have this actual space you need for this widening. So here, if I click this guy, I can definitely push this right bar forward. So you have a longer distance. If you need this, drag this yellow bar, it creates this kind of gradient transition between these two. Right, so that looks pretty good. This 2 lane became 3 lanes. So this is one way you can easily add this actual space in the transition. So I will do the same thing here. So you can see this one more time. So first you have to click this turn zone first to see this purple color bar. Then you drag it forward to create this transition. You see the tree will be removed automatically. That's pretty nice, right? And then you have this actual space, the widening space. Then you can customize. You can add a little bit of control on the look. So here I will change this to. You could do this, as a left turn only. And in some of the intersection, that's the way. Then this part is forward. No, that's actually doesn't make sense. Because this one does not really meet that one, so I think I have to change this back. Right. And this one is forward. Okay. All right. So I have this. Okay. Make this one a little bit wider. Alright, so that is a pretty nice transition here. Alright, so that's about component road, the benefit of it. And also, because it's component road, that means all the decorations. So for example, here if I select this, it's pretty short. Let's do a longer one. So if I select this component road, you can see the values here. You have the speed, design standard, all kinds of data you can manipulate. You can also click individual lane. This is not available in the conceptual road. So for this lane, if you wanna, split or you can replace, you can do this individually. So that's pretty nice for the component road. Okay. Yeah, it's all there. If you want to select entire road, you can just click the terrain part. So this is actually the terrain. on both sides of the road. Okay. And I believe you can also do the decoration. Just make sure you click this the tree or the utility pool. Make sure the property showed decoration. So right now I'm having a tree as my decoration, right? You have to click the tree. So here, if I don't like this spacing. I think it's too many. I will maybe double it. So 60 feet. To go enter. You will see all the tree will update because it's still kind of treated this as a parametric way, and I can even switch the tree. I don't know, maybe to right color. So it's still parametric. You can, wow, that's really large. Okay. I probably want to reduce the scale. If I choose this tree, 0.2 maybe. Right. So you can see this tree is being updated, and you can do the same thing for the other things like utility pool or the traffic zone. Just make sure you select this to show up as a decoration, and here I can, swap. Maybe I want something with more detail, maybe some, transformer installed on the top, so I can just update that. But you should always be aware the wireframe, how many polygons you have created here. That's very essential. Alright, so I think I have that all covered. The transition between the conceptual road to component road. Just keep in mind this is one way. You can't really convert this back to conceptual road. So it's all being transformed permanently. But you can always add in details like traffic light, like street light. You can always drag this bar to create this extra space. Right. For the guardrail, it's actually pretty simple. It's exactly the same way. If I double click the this one is already being converted to component road. But before you do that, if you are adding a decoration, you can add the fence. That is a guardrail. I think it's somewhere along the maybe traffic. I forgot where is it. Oh, here is a zebra crossing. No, that's not one. You can do the guardrail. I think it's one of these. Yeah. If you cannot find it, here's a trick. I will just close cancel. So if you're adding the city furniture, right? And here you can just type guard or rail. Right. So now you can see here it's under component, under bridge. That's interesting. So here's the bridge component. So you got an idea. You can easily add in this extra component like guardrail if you need. You can also add things like acoustic, sound, fence. Is all available there. You just need to dig into the library. Okay. So I think that's pretty much about the component node. Just keep in mind you can always customize the readers. You can just drag this to make this match with the satellite image. You can always select this component. For example, this is the bike lane, right? We added. So if you don't need it, you can choose delete this component, or you can replace the component. So there's a lot of flexibilities here once you create the component row. So once you delete, you see that bike lane is gone. Okay, but let's undo it. I think I want to keep it. Right, so here we go. That looks pretty nice. And also I believe you could always add in extra lens to your to your road. So here, if I right click, actually I have to click here, and I can split the component. I can replace the component. So for example, here is a one single lane, right? I can right click, I would replace this with, maybe 2 lanes, or I can add 3 lanes. So that is the way you can customize, or I can adding this, as barriers. So there's a lot of option. Okay. Let's do an insert component. Let's do slope, grass. Okay. Yeah, so it's pretty flexible. So I have this actual grass right here. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you want this grass actual space going through, you can drag through this intersection. So it will show up on the other side of the road. So here I will drag all the way. Drag this all the way here. Right, so it's just reconstructing the whole road. So now you have this actual green space. Anyhow, I think probably not really necessary because you already have this slope down. But you get the idea. Anytime if you want adding something new, you can add this into this component. All right, I think that conclude this tutorial.